bring his ass to this ring. Give me a hell yeah.
Oh, and a helleth yes. I'm WB Ward.
And I'm Chip Douglas.
Back once again for another episode of SCI Wrestling.
It's a new beginning for SCI Wrestling, really.
It does seem to be. I mean, I saw in Monday Night Raw, and of course with the pay-per-view,
right?
I seem to see some reawakenings of some things.
Well, see, you know what you're missing, the fact that we went through a one Raw pay-per-view and another Raw before we're recording this episode.
Yeah.
So 2 Raws and 1 pay-per-view, and now we're back.
Yeah, and yeah, that's right. We've had a pair of Raws. We had a pay-per-view sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
With the Raws serving as our bread.
Yeah.
We had raw bread. Yeah, that's what that
and
was.
Oreo and pay-per-view is the cream filling.
Okay, I want you to think. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to think on Raw last night,
okay,
as we tape now.
Okay.
There was something we saw on Raw last night. As a matter of fact, we saw it twice in one night, and I haven't seen it happen in years. Can you name what that is?
Now, I watched the Hulu version of it this morning.
Okay.
And so I've only gotten like the 90-minute episode, which I actually way prefer. I'm going to say Seth Rollins wrestling twice.
No, blood.
Oh yeah, because
Cesaro's head popped open, and in a stroke of what I call stupidity, because blood is always. I don't mean to sound like a gore fest here,
right,
but blood is something that's always been a part of professional wrestling. Juicing, as it's known, is something that's very, very common. And it used to be one of the biggest draws. Now they've not only done away with it, it's like, oh my gosh, we've got to stop the man from bleeding. And they actually doctored him during the commercial break. Yeah, Cesaro.
Yep.
And then, of course, toward the end of the show, Randy Orton got busted open. And I think in both cases, they were genuine accidents. I don't think it was intended to be.
Because I do know that it was reported earlier today that Randy Orton actually suffered a concussion.
Yes.
At the end of the show.
Well, but it wasn't apparently too serious because he hasn't been taking off that his movie assignment. So they probably are.
He can still do a movie.
Yeah, they are going to be writing in an injury storyline to excuse his absences leading up to Survivor Series.
But what do you do there, man?
Pardon me?
I mean, because they had to have him in the big plans of Survivor Series.
Well, we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Are you ready for Tweet of the Week?
I am ready for Tweet of the Week.
You've got your guns loaded and everything?
Let's do it.
Okay, well, okay, here we go. I was wondering. Come on, Lurch, count. Count, baby!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
yes.
0.
Thank you.
What time is it, kids?
I almost spewed my coffee.
You sure that was your coffee?
I think it was.
I'm sorry I made that.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. This tweet of the week has nothing to do with wrestling.
Oh.
It's just a funny tweet.
Okay.
And it's brought to you by a former wrestler, Al Snow.
Oh, this is a snow job.
Ever notice how you feel a whole lot more attractive at Walmart than you do at a gym?
That's true. Anytime I go to Walmart, I feel like I'm overdressed. Not exactly the fashion plate of the world.
I agree.
Not exactly the fashion plate of the world. We were talking earlier, and I asked you the question. We saw something on Raw happen twice last night.
Right.
We hadn't seen happen in months. I would dare say, I don't know if years would be an appropriate term, but last night, for the first time in quite a while, there was a sound that we heard, and I was so thankful to hear this sound again. It was almost like WWE Creative actually began listening to people, to their audience, and they let us hear this sound.
Feed me.
Oh, it was so good to see Ryback.
That was 2 Raws ago.
That was 2 Raws.
Yeah,
2 Raws.
Right after the pay-per-view.
But what's wonderful about that is they brought him back. I guess they had the conversation where, well, let's see, we had him as a bully, and that didn't work.
Yep.
Then we made this terrible mistake of having him part of Rybaxel.
Yep.
And found out it was not so perfect. And so they sidelined him for a while, and then they said, hey, I know, let's bring him back and use him as we designed him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, he's a big bad guy that everybody wants to like. So I don't think Ryback could ever successfully go over as a heel just because people want to like him.
I think it went over really well.
Oh, his reappearance, I think, was even stronger than his first appearance.
Do we see him, because one of the big things from last week's Raw that built on to this week's Raw is the Survivor Series main event of Team Authority versus Team Cena.
Yes.
Now, we know a couple of people on Team Authority's side.
Yes.
There's some rumors on what we could predict on Team Cena's side, but could you see maybe Ryback joining Team Cena?
I could see that. I could see that very easily. Very easily, as a matter of fact. I can see that just as easily as I can see Rusev joining the Authority. Yes.
Ooh. Oh, all right. So let's go into prediction mode for Survivor Series. I know we're not going to be able to predict who's going to win it, but we can predict who will be involved in it. So we know on Team Authority we have Seth Rollins and Kane.
Yes.
I think Randy Orton is basically out at this point.
Yeah, of Team Authority. Now, I think he will come back and be with Cena.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so let me hear your predictions. Team Authority, go ahead.
Okay, I think, let's see, how many are they allowed to have?
I think 5.
Okay, Seth Rollins and
Kane.
Kane, of course. I believe also Rusev will join them.
Okay.
Who else do I think? Oh, Mark Henry.
Okay.
I can really see him becoming a part of that.
Yep.
Seth Rollins, Kane, Rusev, Mark Henry. I've got one more that I need to... I tell you, I have not. That's a good question. I hadn't even been thinking along those lines. So I can come up with 4. I'm going to have to defer to you.
Okay. All right.
Well,
actually, I really agree with basically all of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Rollins, Kane. I can see Rusev being very much involved in it. And then Mark Henry.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last one that I have to put is actual Triple H coming back and wrestling himself.
Why would he wrestle himself? Wouldn't he want to have an opponent?
Well, no.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah, put himself in the match. It's his power that's up for grabs now.
I see.
And so I can see him putting himself into the match to represent the Authority.
Okay, I can see that. But I did have I just had an epiphany.
Okay.
Hang on just a second. I'm typing here.
The only one that can maybe substitute within is maybe Bray Wyatt.
That's exactly what I was just getting ready to say.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and put mine down as Bray Wyatt, and I'm going to put yours down as Triple H.
Okay.
Because that's pretty viable.
Oh,
That is pretty viable.
Both of those are liable. Let's face facts. I don't think Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury are going to be on Team Authority.
No, but I was really surprised to find out something about Joey Mercury.
What?
I didn't know that he was one of the producers for Monday Night Raw.
Oh, yeah.
And he's one of the he's one of the main ones. I didn't know that.
You know he got that job?
Do I know how he got it?
Yeah.
No.
CM Punk.
No, that doesn't surprise me.
Because him and CM Punk go a long ways back. And Joey Mercury fell into hard times and ended up actually having filed for bankruptcy and almost lost his house. Ooh. CM Punk gave him the money to save his house. Actually paid his house off. Didn't expect a dime back. And
probably didn't get it either.
Probably didn't get it either. And then Joey Mercury ended up going back to work for WB.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That is pretty awesome.
So
CM Punk's he's a straight up guy.
Absolutely.
Straight up guy. Okay, now I went first on Authority, so you go first on Team Cena.
All right, so we got Cena, of course. I say Dolph Ziggler.
Okay, Dolph.
I'm going to say the Usos.
Now, would that make for 2?
Yeah. So both of them.
Okay.
And maybe Ryback. Oh, actually, I'm going to take it all back. I'm going to take the Usos back.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to say John Cena, Dolph Ziggler. I'm going to say Ryback.
Mm-hmm.
Man, who's someone I can just throw in there? Because I really don't... I got a big surprise for the last one.
Oh.
Jeez. Someone else. I don't know who yet. Maybe Randy Orton. I'll throw Randy Orton there.
Okay.
And then I'm going to throw Roman Reigns as the last one.
You think he's ready to come back?
I don't know, but we'll see.
That would be awfully cool.
Yeah.
Now, I also agree with Orton, because I think he will be back in time for Survivor Series. I think it only makes sense.
Right.
I think Big Show will be part of Cena's because of the fact
of Mark Henry?
Yeah, because of Mark Henry being over on the Authority.
So I can see him replacing Ryback then.
Yeah.
On my side.
On your side?
Yeah.
So you want to take off Ryback?
No, I'm gonna keep Ryback there.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna say Ryback, Orton, Big Show, and
You have to put Ziggler there. I mean, Ziggler's going to be there.
Ziggy.
Ziggy's going to be there.
Yeah.
So you got one more.
No, that would make 5. Cena, Ryback, Orton, Big Show, and Dolph.
Oh, okay. That'd be your 5. Okay.
Yeah, Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Comet, Cupid, Diver,
All right.
Blitzen. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. That's it. Okay. Did you get the distinct impression after last night's Raw? WWE is getting desperate.
I think I know where you're going with this one.
I swear the WWE Network is getting ready to implode.
I mean, it's
in trouble.
It's definitely in trouble. I would definitely agree there. I mean, we're talking about WWE Network, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so
actually, I think that could be.
We're talking about the company in general, but the focus is on WWE Network.
Yes, and I think it's going to be the first domino. If this is going to start anything, I think this will be the first domino.
The first domino. I mean, I think the domino fell as soon as they release the WWE Network and say it's going to be $9.99 for even a 6-month commitment. So you're immediately demolishing the pay-per-view revenue that you ever had.
Gee, I wonder. I know I heard somebody say that before. Who was that?
Must have been a very smart financial analyst.
It must have been.
It must have been. I will never say who.
And I don't blame you.
But the fact that they came out with the numbers, they did the whole new infrastructure of WB Network. 3 months or 2 months ago, where you could do $9.99 for 6 months, or you could do $12.99 month to month. Well, that only produced 28,000 more subscribers from the last quarter.
Now, you watch. They're going to come out. Here's something I really think will happen. They're going to come out in a few weeks and go, oh, we had X amount of new subscribers take advantage of this free month. And that's all they're going to say. They're not going to say what their overall subscription base is. Because what's going to happen is a ton of their current subscribers are going to cancel, turn right around, and with a new credit card, sign back up to get the free month. So even though they're saying we had 500,000 people, new subscribers, sign up, these are actually 500,000 people who already had it to begin with and just canceled and turned right around with a new credit card.
There's cancellation fees available too, though.
Well, that may be.
Like with me.
Okay, yeah. Well, how much is the cancellation fee? Is it just simply for the remainder of the contract?
I think so.
If that's the case, then anybody who
so
has
I got
less
3
than
months left, so I got maybe $30.
Okay.
To cancel.
But and
I get 10 of that back this month.
Looking at this historically, when you look at companies like Sprint, you've got DirecTV, you've got Dish Network, any major cell phone company who offer 2-year contracts, and then they offer what are called new customer incentives. They always battle the problem with their current customers of going, hey, what am I, chopped liver?
Right.
They're always calling up these companies and they're rightfully complaining, listen, you've got my business. Why don't you give me something instead of just handing this out? Why don't you do something to nurture my business so I stay with you rather than trying to use this as bait to get new people? That's a viable argument. And I think they're going to be opening a door for some very disgruntled customers whom at the end of their contract may not renew.
I'm pissed.
I think
I'm pissed about it.
I think overall it's going to cost them it's going to cost them more in the long run than they're going to be achieving. He may see some short-term gains, but it'll have some long-term repercussions.
What this is desperation move.
Big time desperation.
Big time desperation. Because what quarter are we going into?
We are already in the fourth quarter.
We're in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And so this is desperation time. They do not want to end this year as badly as they started and then go into the second or third quarter. They're hurting.
I mean, right now, at the beginning of this year, McMahon was valued at $1.6 billion. One of the most recent estimations is his net value has dropped down to $750 million.
See?
And that's more than a 25% drop in income. Even though that's a massive amount of money, if you take your income right now, just however much money you're making a week or a month or a year right now,
right.
Just do some mental math and chop that by 25%. Take 1/4 of that away. That's the kind of drop that he experienced. And even if you're a multi-billionaire or a multi-millionaire, rather, in this case, that's still going to sting quite a bit. That is still going to sting quite a bit.
Right.
I think they would have been far better off if they really, really wanted to get some new customer benefits, as it were. I think they would have been far better off by saying something like, okay, for the month of November and the month of December, for our new customers, you're going to save 40% off of any purchase from the WWE store online. Not only are you enticing people to come in, but you're even you would simultaneously be increasing revenue on the WWE merchandise.
Right.
Because you can still make a few pennies off of the sale of your goods. And this is stuff that people want to buy. Otherwise, they wouldn't have them out there.
Right.
So I think that would have been a far, far wiser thing to have done rather than what they did.
Well, you actually have a great business point there.
Thank you.
Then
why am I so flippin' broke?
I have no idea. Because that's a brilliant idea. Because let's face facts, on apparel or any kind of merchandise, there has to be at least 30 to 40% markup in it.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you're able to give the 40% off, all you're doing is giving away at cost.
Yeah.
And maybe shipping and handling. So you're maybe losing.
Well, you
5%.
can make up on shipping and handling because you can charge anything
you can
want
charge
to
shipping and handling. So you're really giving away at cost, but then you're committing someone to a 6-month contract at $9.99.
Sure.
So overall, you're going to be able to have that income at the end of that.
Yeah, you can recoup
that.
You can recoup that loss that you made through your offer.
But still, I mean, it just, I go back to what you said originally, the fact that they are screwing over so many people.
They are.
And now the price of a pay-per-view has downgraded from $50 to $60 to $10.
And more than all of the red flags that I'm raising right now, the one thing that I fear the most is WWE getting the idea at some point, if it hasn't already happened behind closed doors, it will. And that's for WWE to get the idea of, well, we're going to do this card and this card because this performer works for less money. And we can make this more profitable. But when somebody points out, hey, listen, that's not really a very good box office draw. And they go, look, what do you want? You're only paying $10.
Right.
That is the kind of attitude I can really see coming up very quickly.
And I know we're spending actually way too much time on this since it's only a 30-minute show. But last point I want to bring up is the fact that, with the revenue loss means loss of payroll.
Yes.
And I think with loss in payroll, we're going to be able to see other individuals lose contracts or lose money. What's that going to open up to? That's going to open up to competition. Competition is going to be able to come in with their money, be able to sign WBE star players to come to their organizations to be able to make an impact and be able to, I don't know, maybe be competitive.
Now that is an interesting side point. So yeah, maybe for the audience, maybe there could be an advantage.
Maybe the Monday Night Wars are coming back in a different way.
Ted Turner is tickling at his toes.
I doubt that.
Old Teddy Turner.
I doubt that. There might be some other people tickling at their toes, but I don't think it's Ted Turner.
Yeah, but he's just sitting there thinking, how's it feel, bitch?
Yeah, how's it feel now?
Anyway, so what else is on your mind?
One thing that we talked about briefly I think it's maybe over phone call that I really want a discussion. We're talking about from Back to Hell in a Cell and how it ended. So we're talking about the Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins main event.
Yes.
And we saw the incredible return of Bray Wyatt.
That was pretty awesomely done, but what I found interesting was what they didn't mention.
Thank you so much. In fact, there's a Twitter follower that posted a picture of it that made it even more evident to me that what we saw was not an illusion, that there was something there. And what we're talking about, folks, is the fact that the hologram that existed within the smoke in the lantern.
I thought it was Mary Magdalene.
Mary Magdalene.
Mary Magdalene, yeah.
From the Bible?
We'll call the Pope. We will make this
I was thinking Sister Abigail.
A deified miracle. Oh, that could have been Sister Abigail.
Sister Abigail. Because it looked like a female.
Yes, it did.
And so I was thinking that might be Sister Abigail that existed in that smoke.
Why in the bedoodles would they not be talking about this? Because I thought it was just awesome.
Oh, I thought it was incredible. I think that was probably the most creative return they've ever done in recent history.
And they didn't. What was I thought intriguing was they never showed and never made a big deal out of the way Bray Wyatt made his entry into the cage.
Ooh.
They absolutely said nothing about that.
Okay.
Nothing was said about that. Did he come up through the ring? Did he use a key? Did they raise the cage up a little bit to allow him underneath? Just the fact that they just totally ignored that, I thought was rather compelling. I think it was uncompelling that they ignored the fact that they did have indeed some kind of a hologram in there. Maybe some of our listeners will be able to shed us some light on that. So ship us off an email.
I mean, that's exactly right to me. I think this is more, I don't know. I was just so shocked that they didn't bring it up in Raw. I think more than anything, that they did not say anything about it. We went through another week of Raw, still nothing about it. And still, I mean, with the Bray Wyatt Dean Ambrose feud, it's already kind of stalling. Dean Ambrose came out last Monday, beat up Cesaro. Mm-hmm. Bray Wyatt came with the promo. So this past week, he wrestled Cesaro, which is actually an incredible match. That was a really good match. And Bray Wyatt was just sitting on the stage. That was it.
I hate to say this, but I think this might be an example of where WWE Creative actually came up with something good and it scared them. I think that, oh crap, what do we do with this now?
Oh, that worked.
Yeah, I don't know what to do now. That very well could be the issue. That very well could be the issue. But no, I thought it was a masterful use of special effects. I'd like to know how in the world they did it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was very well done.
Yeah, I wonder if that was as visible in person as it was on the screen.
Ooh, or maybe live.
Yeah, well,
I mean, a lot of people are doing holograms now. I mean, recent concerts, like with Tupac, Michael Jackson, where they've used hologram versions of them to be able to do the concert.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. I forgot all about that. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
I know, I'm smart.
What else was going on in this pay-per-view that we need to address?
Oh man, what else? I mean, we saw John Cena defeat Randy Orton. So now we know that Cena has the number one contendership for Brock Lesnar's title. Yes. Which obviously isn't going to be done at Survivor Series. So at that point, we're looking at TLC, which is the next pay-per-view after Survivor Series. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, we're looking at Survivor Series now. Team Cena versus Team Authority, which is definitely the main event. We got the added stipulation of Vince McMahon's return last night, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was kind of nice seeing the old man.
Yeah, exactly. For him to be able to put the stipulation of, if Team Cena wins, Authority is no longer in charge.
Hey, you think they're going to be really pushing making a push on Mizdow? I mean, soon. Because did you notice? I think it was last night. Miz was battling one of the Usos. And, of course, the Usos have been a crowd favorite for an awful long time. They always get cheered.
Right.
Well, Mizdow was out at ringside doing what he does best. That's mimicking the Miz while he's in the ring.
Right.
And he does it masterfully. Well, as you would expect, one of the Usos eventually come over and they kick Mizdow. And the Usos actually got booed when they did that. I mean, Mizdow is going over so well with the audience that one of the Usos attacked in what was quite obviously part of the storyline. But the crowd did not like that idea at all. They are really eating up Mizdow so much they actually would boo one of their heroes.
Mizdow is a comedy character. That's all he is. Is there a push? Maybe, but not much.
Well, if they're
after Miz, what do they do?
If they're smart, they will. If they learned any lessons from Santino Marella, they should learn that one. When you got something that's going over that well with the audience, yeah, let's go ahead and let's give him a little bit of ramp.
I agree.
Give him some canvas time.
I completely agree.
He needs it, or at least do what they've been doing and keep him involved on camera with sketches and stuff like that. Because quite frankly, he does it surprisingly very, very, very well. And I wonder if the delay that he has from the Miz's actions, I wonder if that's intentional, or does he just? Is it simply made up as he goes along, and therefore it has a natural delay between the Miz's action and his? In other words, it doesn't happen precisely at the same second. There's a little bit of delay,
right?
Just little things like that just add a lot of overall charm to it. I don't know. I'm becoming a Mizdow fan, Mizdow fan, but then again, I'm being very consistent because I have always been his fan. Do you remember what my one and only complaint about him has ever been?
What? Oh, the theme music.
Yeah, his ring music.
Yeah.
Other than that, I loved his character.
So
thank you.
I don't know.
And I think they should do with him what they did with Ryback, and that send him right back to his roots. But in his case, change his ring music.
There you go. I think it's a prime opportunity to do it.
Oh, it's much more so. Yeah, absolutely.
So did you see this? Speaking on another topic, did you see that Rusev actually defeated Sheamus?
Yes, I saw that
for the U.S. Championship.
In a rare event for me. I fought sleep like crazy last night, and I actually stayed up to watch that. I had a feeling that was going to happen because of the desperation to push the WWE Network.
Right.
That something big was indeed going to happen during that, and that's why I really wanted to stay up and see that. But yeah, and I think that was a genius move on the storyline, because he is now totally undefeated, isn't he? He's never been defeated so far.
He's never been pinned
or submitted.
Yes.
Has he been defeated though?
He's been defeated.
Has he?
Yes.
From what, like a count out or a disqualification?
Yeah, disqualification or anything.
Okay, well, I guess that would count as a loss, but I think that's going to really add to the storyline, and I think that adds a little fuel to my suspicion that he will be on Team Authority.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and maybe that might add Sheamus to Team Cena.
Oh, that's a possibility.
Maybe if you think about it, since he just defeated him, maybe there's a little rivalry there.
The only thing left there is the fact they still have another 2 hours and 50 minutes worth of programming to fill on that pay-per-view, so they're going to have to leave somebody out to fill the card up.
Ooh.
So, what other kind of matches do you foresee possibly happening?
I see, and that's why I don't think Bray Wyatt or Dean Ambrose will be part of the teams. Because I see that being kind of
now I see Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt being on their own now that you mention it.
Exactly. I think that would make sense for them to be on their own, having some tag team championship match on there. Of course, Divas title. Or heck, maybe they should air this NXT. Maybe you should have an NXT championship match on this pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
To be able to produce that.
Bring the youngsters along.
Yeah, bring up. Most of them are youngsters.
bring the kids. Bring the whole family. I just love it when we have one of these shows where we got so much to talk about.
So much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had our bowls overflowing on this one.
And by the way, before we end, I got to throw a special shout out to Marcus Hathcock, one of our good friends that comes on the show. He is now a writer for PWI, Pro Wrestling Insider, which is a big congratulations to him. He deserves it, and we're excited to have him back on the show now as a journalist.
Yeah, see, Marcus, I told you those literacy courses were going to help you out.
See, all those times on SCI Wrestling are paying off for you.
It's about time you learned to read. Bless his heart. Congratulations, Marcus.
Absolutely.
Now I expect to see us mentioned in one of your articles.
Absolutely should. Royalties, please.
Okay, be sure to join us next week right here in a special place on your computer for another edition of this show we call SCI.